Today we're going to use a while loop with an index, and the index will control the while loop's behavior. So let's say we want to create a while loop with an index to control a robot's behavior, in this case just moving forward, and it's going to move forward a certain distance. Okay, so let's put that moving forward command in. I know in a previous video I had shown, I had suggested not to put in a forward for distance command, a specific distance like 200 millimeters, because you could be moving past the point where you want to stop while your while loop is still running. But in this case, I want to move forward in increments of 200 millimeters to show you how this works. So anyways, we're going to put a while loop in as well. So I'm going to grab the while and put it in. Remember to put spaces to keep yourself organized. If I want this forward command in the while loop, I'm going to tab in the same indentation. The while loop itself needs to be indented from the define main statement. Okay, so now we need an expression here. But if we're going to use an index to control this, then we need an index. We need a variable. So I'm going to tab in because everything needs to be tabbed in except for these two statements. And let's say I create a variable, my variable. I need to tell the program what it is at the beginning. I want to initialize this variable. So a simple, common one is 0. The value of my variable at the beginning will be 0. Now I'm going to use my variable to control how far this robot moves. So while my variable is less than 2. This needs to be in parentheses, or should be, that's a better practice. So this while loop is going to happen as long as my variable is less than 2. Well, at the beginning, my variable is 0, so it's going to happen this first time. All right, now the only thing is, if I don't change the value of my variable will stay 0 forever, and this loop will happen forever. And so I want to change the value of my variable. And so in this case, I am going to make it equal to my variable plus 1. Again, I'm going to indent it because I want it to be in. I want it to be in the while loop. Everything here is in the while loop. So what I've done is what's called increment. I've increased the value of my variable every time the while loop happens. If I start at 0, the first time it enters the while loop, my variable will become 1. The second time it enters it would become 2, and so forth. So let's just stop this motion of this robot after by putting a drive stop command there. You can see I've tabbed it in the same amount as the while and the initialization of my variable. Okay, so just to mention this, this is not something you can do in algebra. My variable plus 1 will never be equal to my variable, so it's not an appropriate algebraic equation. But in programming, it's appropriate, and you want to think about it as you're putting the value of my variable, which is 0 the first time, plus 1, which is 1. You're putting that value into my variable as if it was a pail. Don't think of it as an algebraic equation. All right, so now, first it will be 0. This while loop will run because 0 is less than 2. My variable will be incremented to 1. 1 is also less than 2, so the while loop will happen again. But then the next time, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 is not less than 2, so the while loop will not happen a third time. Let's watch. So it went 200 millimeters, and then it went another 200 millimeters, a total of 400 millimeters, and then it stopped. Thank you for listening.